Regarding some who talk of the need for marketing of books and other stuff and say most is a rehash of stuff also by creators, well, consider this. Oh, and this also goes for so-called need for marketing on social media, all that stuff. Just consider. And by the way, match this up with videos by Alux or whoever on what women find fascinating about certain men, rare men. In other words, here's the crux. If someone walks into a bar, a woman, and she is considered by male standards the average sexy gal in terms of the proportioning of her body, her smile, her suggestiveness of hopping in bed with a guy, frolicky, fun-loving, distracted, flirtatious, and ego-building of the guy, at least initially. She does not need to take out YouTube ads or any other kind of ads. She is the ad. And she's not that common. Well, especially adding in the alcohol, you probably want to throw in the alcohol too as part of what's considered sexy, because males often wouldn't hop in bed unless there's alcohol involved also. Check out that on there. And she will not have to attach a price tag either.
So what does that unit serve?
You could attach the somewhat off-color comment that she attracts certain people, certain men, like flies on you-know-what. I mean, thus the flies can't help but being attracted to such. Just like most everybody, once getting a taste of crack cocaine, can't resist more of it. Or if you get accustomed to a certain lifestyle, a certain amount of money coming in, to withdraw it is to have money withdrawal symptoms. Now consider alternatively, I went to a mountain mushroom festival, attendance fair, whatever, a year ago. Let's see, that would have been 2022. And of all the people there, noting by the way that at that fair, I spotted only one person, and she was, about 25, 30? She was in the grandstand there. Music was playing like a little tent overhead. And there was just something about her that grabbed me. And maybe it would escape the notice of some people because she had on totally nondescript clothing. It wasn't anything to write home about, like maybe gym shorts. And I remember one of her pieces of clothing, maybe a t-shirt, had like frays to it, little fabric fraying there. Yet I could spot huge quality. Upon investigation, she had one child there at least. The child, if I remember correctly, looked very happy, very happy. And this kind of sexuality, sex appeal, if you will, had nothing of the taint of coyness or readiness to hop in bed. There were no alcohol involved. And that's what I would call the real McCoy there. And note, this is something that has none of the flashiness of the first type. And, frankly, a lot of people might pass this by, this second form of massive appeal, because it's too hard to qualify to get into an audience of such a person. Really, they're very discriminating, and most people would know that. Most don't have what it takes to qualify for an audience with such a person. I wonder if this might be a form of what we would call demure sexiness. And of course, it doesn't, again, have to put on lipstick, expensive clothing, airs, so to speak, special cars, and offer to hop in bed right and left. And no alcohol is required to convince anyone to do anything. But again, it doesn't offer the quickest bang for the buck for many a person who would rather have a big shot or two of tequila. And it's very discriminating. You go to a bar and order a glass of tequila, and if the waiter there or what the bartender says, oh, that'll be $5,000, and you know every time you go to the bar that particular tequila costs that, pretty soon you're not even going to ask, because you realize you don't have what it takes ponying up wise, in this case for this woman, emotionally. I like what Stephen James once said. He said one of the major reasons he wanted to do self-improvement, he was unmarried at the time, was to become the kind of person who would want him regarding a woman he wanted in turn. So don't you think a person who has this more demure, if you will, and picky sexiness is in turn not going to be pursued by too many people and overlooked completely? Again, to recap, first because there's a little initial bang for the buck. Kind of like going to a French restaurant and getting a minimal amount of food rather than a all-you-can-eat $10 buffet of pizza and engorging yourself, again, for the distractive, comforting, short-term realities of it all, or going up and getting yourself a jug of whiskey, so to speak, for $5 at the local liquor store. Some people just don't need that and thus don't want it. You might say it's overkill then for certain people, because the side effects would be too great, and the plus points not needed. In fact, the plus points knock out your awareness and more. Kind of reminds me too, some people might like a big set of shots of whiskey, and others might find it overkill and downsides involved too toxic, and prefer a cup of chamomile tea or a cool glass of water, and they don't need more. And so too I say it is with sexiness. Some would definitely, many not prefer and then overlook. Hidden gem like that, one in the whole crowd that whole afternoon that I saw. By the way, I think the feeling can be mutually. What is the law of attraction? Such a person might notice someone else similar in a heartbeat. I give a case in point of me being once in public and almost nobody looked at me, but then there was this gal wearing expensive, classy clothing, and she looked at me and grinned, and nobody else did. Don't you think maybe she saw something in me that she wanted and recognized and maybe had a shot at? Many other people pass by because they're looking for the whiskey type of appealing person or sexy person. Big bang for the buck. And you can get in easy. You just buy a few drinks, you just flash a smile, you flash some money around. But for the more discriminating person, no amount of the money in the world, and definitely no whiskey and offers of sex that night, is going to do a darn thing. That's about what I have to say about sexiness then. Oh, and one more thing. If the more demure kind of sexiness, the more internally powered person as sexy appeals to a person, what? They don't feel they could get an audience with such a person? And they don't feel they could pony up the emotional components to be looked at, to be distinguished from the masses of people, so to speak? Maybe they watch a movie or a sitcom or whatever and derive voyeuristically, you almost might say, voyeuristically, some kind of appealing contact for a few hours or an hour or whatever, or maybe through song, music, etc. Like going to a concert with your favorite rock band performers or whatever. Because you know you can't get an audience per se on a personal level, but you can purchase kind of a facsimile contact period. That's what I have to say on the topic.